Friend, I am Naval. You are watching Code with Naval. Welcome to Java series part 91. In a last video, we saw sorted set. In this video, we are going to discuss about comparable and comparator interface. So let's discuss one by one. In a sorted set, there we saw sorted set by default providing ascending order. Sorted set don't have their own capability to sort data. Sorted set also using an internally comparable interface by default for a sorting data. But if you want to provide us some customized sorting order, okay, if you want to provide some customized sorting order, then we can use a comparator interface. Remember these two things: comparable using for a natural sorting order and comparator used for a customized sorting order. So let's discuss one by one. First we discuss this comparable interface. This interface present in a java.lang package. It contains only one method, compared to method. Compared to method used for a natural sorting order, or we can say ascending order. Comparable provide a single sorting sequence. It means it can sort a single element such as a ID, name and price. Let's consider here we have an object. In that object have a ID, name and price, and we put those object in a sorted set. By default comparable take one, compare this, compare to method take one object, take only one field of this object and sort only if this compare to method take id, then it will sort only according to this id. Okay, then this method compare element and provide a return int value. You can see in this example. Let's discuss what integer value it will return. Okay, first we add here b value. When adding a first value, there no existing value. That's why when adding a single first value, that time there is a no required a comparison. When we add a second value, that time this second value required a comparison with the first value. Okay, this obj, this b is a obj2 and this a is a obj1. If obj1 less than obj2, if obj1 less than obj2, then it will simply return a negative value. Okay, then second scenario, if c is greater than this b, okay, this a is smaller than this b, that's why it's return a negative value. Now here we adding a c, this c is greater than this b, that's why it should be return a positive value. Okay, you can see here, if obj1 is greater than obj2, then it will simply return a positive value, and if both objects are equal, then it will simply return a zero value. Here in this example you can understand a is smaller than b, that means a add a before b. Okay, this minus sign means add a before, this plus sign means add a after means greater value, and this zero means don't add that value because that value already exists. Okay, this three integer value only this compared to method return. Okay, according to that, this sorted set those data in that sorted set element. Okay, here we understand this comparable interface. Then here we have a comparator interface. This comparator interface used for a customized sorting order, or comparable used for a default sorting order, and this comparator used for a customized sorting order. We can use a comparator for to define a customized sorting order. Comparator interface present in a java.util package. Inside a comparator interface have a two method. First one is a compare method. This method contain a two object. Okay, this method accept two object obj1 and obj2 and compare this two object. And second method equal method. Whenever we implement a comparable interface, compulsory we have to provide a compare method implementation. Equal method is optional because we got equal method implementation from object class. As we know, equal method all classes by default extended object class, and inside a object class have a equal method implementation. That's why no required a equal method implementation here, but compulsory we have to provide a compare method implementation. Okay, here we can simply pass here our two object and here return a value according to compare method implementation. Here we can return a int value. Okay, here we also return according to our sorting, we can return here value. Okay, if we return a negative value, then it will add a before this object one. Okay, if we return a positive value, then obj add after this object 2. Okay, and if we return a 0 then it will not add, because it consider it's already exist, or it consider it's equal, that's why it will not add. Okay, open Eclipse and we will see these interfaces, comparable and comparator. Okay, I'll simply create here one class, and that class name is a part91, and inside of that class we will create a main method. Okay, let's create here main method, then create a tree set. Okay, here create a tree set object, and here we pass a integer. Okay, then ss equal to new tree set, and here you can see here this tree set provide this all types of constructor. Here default constructor, then here second constructor, here we can pass any other collection object, and this third constructor, here we pass, here we create a by using a comparator, here we create a customized sorting order, and we can pass that class object, and finally we here we have a sorted set. Okay, now let's create here by default tree set default sorting, and here we can simply add dot, okay sorry, ss dot add, and here we pass 1, then ss dot add, here we pass a 4. Okay, then ss dot add, here we pass 2. Okay, this object, and here you can see if I print this, then it will provide a by default natural sorting ss, and here you can see here we get simple 1 2 4. Okay, natural sorting order. But I want here customized sorting order, I want to print this reverse manner, or I want to print some other customized sorting order. For that we have to use a comparator interface. Okay, before that we will simply check what inside a comparable interface. Okay, let's check here. Okay, comparable interface, you can see these two interfaces, comparable present inside a line package, and this comparator present inside a util package. Okay, let's open this and check what inside this comparable interface. You can see here we have only one method, compare to method, and this one is introduced in a 1.2 version. Then here we have a comparator interface. Okay, let's create a new class, and we will simply create a class name, class my part91. Okay, and this one simply implements comparator interface, and when here we pass an integer. Okay, here also we have to pass integer, and here you can see this one forcing to add an unimplemented method. Okay, here you can see this one throwing error. Now we have to add unimplemented method. Once we click here add unimplemented method, here we get a compare method. By default we have to add this compare method, because here have two method. Okay, let's open this and let's check how many method present inside this. You can see here we have a compare and equal method, these two method, and this equal method by default implementation provided by object class, that's why we don't need to provide again implementation, and we have to provide a compare method implementation. Okay, here we pass that implementation, here we write our code. Okay, let's write here code. I'll simply write here condition, I want descending order. Okay, I want a data descending order. If I'll simply write here if this, I'll simply change here obj1. Okay, obj1 and obj2. If obj1 if obj1 is greater than obj2, if you need to provide an ascending order, then I'll simply provide here +1, because this obj is greater, and we need to add after this obj2. But now I want to add descending, I want to sort descending order, that's why I'll do here vice versa. Instead of plus I'll simply pass here -1. Okay, then we need to return here return -1. Okay, then else if obj1, okay, obj1 less than obj2, then it should be return +1, return 1. Okay, and else will simply provide here else return 0. Okay, so remove this, and we don't need to add this bracket also, because here we write only single line statement. Okay, let's remove this, and we can save our line, we can save space. Okay, let's remove all this, because when we have a single line statement inside else, then we don't need to provide these brackets. Okay, let's save this, and I'll simply pass this class object here. Okay, let's pass here, and you can see, let's save this and run this, and here you can see, here we get a descending order. Okay, instead of ascending order, here we get a descending order, and here we pass some different thing also. Now instead of writing this much code, we will simply use some methods. Okay, we will simply use some trick, and we will create a descending order in a short code. We will simply return, and we will compare obj1 dot compare to obj2. Okay, now you can see this one simply provide a ascending order. Here this one simply provide a ascending order, but if we change, if this method return a minus, then we will simply convert that plus, and this method return a plus, then we will simply convert that minus. Okay, here we simply add a minus sign, and it will simply convert vice versa. If return a plus, then it will convert minus, and if this method return a minus, then it convert plus. Okay, let's save and run, and here you can see this this provide a descending order. Now I'll show few things. Now this okay, let's add two more thing. Here you can see, here I am adding this duplicate value, this 2 4 time. Now I want to print this all data in a insertion order. Okay, is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, because here JVM don't know what you are doing. Whatever you provide a code, JVM work on that sequence. Okay, instead of this, I'll simply comment this and return 0. I'll simply return a 0. Okay, let's save and run, and here you can see, here we get a simple 1 value. Okay, but if we return here 1, then what happened? Every time it's get a 1, and it will simply, whatever you insert, it will simply print that manner. Okay, it will simply follow insertion order. Now I want to print reverse insertion order. So how can we do that? We will simply pass here -1, and let's see, here we get a reverse order. Now can we pass here null value? Okay, is it possible? Okay, let's pass here null, and again I'll pass here null. Okay, let's save this and run this. Here you can see null also possible. Here you can see all this possible. Earlier we discussed only sorted set not allow null value, not allow duplicate value. But how it's possible? Because internally, if we don't pass our customized sorting class, then it will internally using a comparable interface, and that comparable interface strictly check. But now we pass here our own customized sorting, and comparable will not call, this time comparator call, and here we pass whatever we pass. JVM don't know what we are doing. JVM just run that code and provide a output. Okay, in this video we saw how can we use a comparator, comparable, and what is the use of comparator interface. Comparable basically used for a default natural sorting order, and if you want customized sorting order, then we use a comparator interface. In this video, that's it. We will see next topic in the next video. Till that, bye bye.